people, it's me, Anja. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can probably tell, it's raining outside, but since this is the only type of getting wet that I will get during this quarantine, and honestly in all time periods, I am here for it and I am filming outside. So anyway, the inspiration for this video, since you already know what it is from the title, is that historical fiction is one of my favorite genres, yet it's so underhyped in booktube and bookstagram, and maybe that's because of the misconception that history is like boring and irrelevant, which is not true at all, in my opinion. And maybe that's just because people are like learning about like the same history over and over and over again, and that can get boring. But these books will hopefully provide a little more insight into other histories, because I feel like if you like grow up in a country, you only learn about that country's history, and I feel like you should always learn about history from a different perspective, because obviously there are multiple perspectives all across the world, and in order to understand somebody else's perspective, you should see it from their shoes. So I hope that these books, I hope that some of them will provide an insight into other people's perspectives, because like with all that's going on in the world, we should really learn from other people's perspectives before we start being, judgmental and racist and all that. So anyway, with that long intro out of the way, the first book on this list is Girl with a Camera, written by Karen Meyer. Karen Meyer is one of my favorite historical fiction authors. I have loved all of her books, so for this list I chose one of my favorites. Girl with a Camera is about Margaret Bourke White, who was the first female photojournalist in World War II, and I had never heard of her before, so I just learned about this wonderful woman whom I never learned about in school, and I just loved hearing about her story, and something like her career is something that wasn't exactly encouraged, not just because, well, yes, it wasn't encouraged for her, and it was considered like kind of unfeminine, I guess, because like she's a woman, and like going up to the front lines and taking pictures of the people, the soldiers, wasn't encouraged for women, and I just loved her journey of resilience and strength, and it was absolutely so good. So yeah, I would recommend this book. The next book is called The Librarian of Auschwitz, written by Iturbe, and it's translated by Lillian Thwaites, I think. Anyway, this tells the story of Dita Cross, who is a real-life person, and she was the librarian of Auschwitz, as you can probably tell. By the way, there are sprinklers over there, so if you have trouble hearing me, that's why. But again, it's also raining. Anyway, so Dita tries to keep the magic of books alive during the Holocaust in Auschwitz, which is absolutely really difficult because of the Holocaust in one of the worst concentration camps. In one of the worst concentration camps in the world. But it's based on a true story, so you should definitely read it just for that. It was so good. I loved it, and I would highly recommend it for anybody who loves libraries and loves books, which you probably do if you were watching this video. So this is a great book. The next book is called The Weight of a Sky, written by Hanna Alkaf, and it's about a young girl in Malaysia, and she's very strong and resilient, and it's set in 1969 during the race riots. Again, which is a time period that I am very unfamiliar with, so I learned a lot about the time period, which I love learning about, and I loved her perspective, because the character was just so awesome, amazing, strong and resilient. Like I said before, she also has OCD, so there's lots of OCD representation. Love that. And the journey that she took was just so wonderful. Like, not only the literal journey, but the figurative journey. I don't really remember the plot. I had to look on Goodreads for all of these books to find like a simple synopsis because I read so many of these books so many years ago, but I still remember the impact they had on me, even if I don't remember their synopses. So The Weight of the Sky is quite good, and I would recommend it, and it's just so amazing, and I should give it a reread. The next book is called The Hired Girl, written by Laura Amy Schlitz. This is about Joan, who's 14, and it's over the summer of like 1911 or 1912. I think it's 1911. Anyway, so it tells the story of her as she's a hired girl, and it just talks about like her experience as a hired girl. I keep repeating the title because again, I can't give you a full synopsis because I don't remember. But I do remember giving it 4 stars. So that's pretty good. So it was really good, and I just really loved it. I just don't know how else to express that, other than just saying that I just really enjoyed it, and you guys should read it too. Not just for the learning of the atmosphere and the time period, but also because Joan was a great protagonist and just like a good, strong female character. We love those. The next book is called The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, written by Mackenzi. I know that this book is technically a sequel, but like I don't think that you need to read the first book. And I know it's technically a second book in a trilogy, I think, or maybe a book series since I haven't read the third one yet. And I don't know if the third sibling could have descendants, so I guess Mackenzi could write as many books as she wants. Anyway, I know this book is technically a sequel, but I preferred this book over the first one, so maybe you should just read this one and just not read the first one. Anyway, it follows the story of Felicity, whom, if you read the first one, is the sister of Monty, and she wants to become a doctor, and it's set in the 19th century, and a female doctor is just not what females are supposed to do in the 19th century, but she wants to do it anyway because that's who she is. So she travels across Europe. It's action-packed and fast-paced, and I loved all the female characters that were in it. And Felicity is also ALO-ace, I think. So there's that representation. And even though I do agree that ALO-ace people are underrepresented, I feel like this book kind of bolsters the stereotype that if you are single in a YA book, it's assumed that you're ALO-ace, which is not always true because, like, for example, I'm single, but I don't think that I'm ALO-ace, and I could not be ALO-ace. I could be, but I also could not be as well. Anyway, The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy was absolutely so good. I'm excited to read the third one, even though Felicity and Monty may not make an appearance in it. But anyway, I'm excited to read the third one. You should read this one. It's so good, and it's much better than the first one. So, the next book is called Out of the Dust, written by Karen Hesse. This is about a young girl named Jo during the Great Depression, and the book is set in Freeville, and I love books set in Freeville, and I think Out of the Dust stemmed my love for it, or at least started it, because Out of the Dust is so good, and even though the story is set in Freeville, the characters are still dynamic and well developed, and I loved the setting, and it was just really good, and I rated it 5 stars. I read this book in school, so like it was a long time ago, but it was still so good. And the fact that I can still remember, like I've said multiple times, the fact that I still remember that this book had such a big impact on me, even though I read it ages ago, means that it was absolutely spectacular. I probably cried multiple times during it, which just proves that not only do I have emotions, but this book makes me feel things, and I absolutely loved it. It is raining so hard that I can't really see through my glasses right now, but Out of the Dust was so good and totally worth all of its hype and more. I saved the most hyped up book on this list for last so I could talk about the more underrated books first, and this last book on this list is The Book Thief, written by Markus, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And if you don't know what it's about a young girl named Lisa, and it's set during World War II in Nazi Germany. World War II is like one of the most common settings for historical fiction, and honestly, I should compile a list of historical fictions that are not set during World War II. But anyway, The Book Thief is absolutely so good. I know that everybody talks about it, but everybody talks about it because it's absolutely amazing and spectacular, and oh my gosh, it's just so good. I can't even express my love for it. I went into this book with such low expectations, and it exceeded all of my expectations because it's absolutely amazing. And this is one of those books that's still 5 stars and remains 5 stars every time I reread it. Because sometimes when I reread books, it's not as good as it was the first time. But The Book Thief is absolutely amazing, and that's why it's one of my favorite books of all time, not just in historical fiction. And it's just incredible. So, yeah, you should read it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that these books will provide some sort of escapism and comfort in these scary times. I will link my playlist of recommended reads that I'm slowly creating in the description below, because like I mentioned in my previous videos, during this quarantine, most of my videos will be recommended reads and recent reads. So yeah, if you like this video, if any of these books intrigued you, or if you've read any of them, let me know. But yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below your favorite historical fiction recommendations, because like I mentioned, historical fiction is so underhyped, and I just don't know why. It should be more hyped. It should be just as hyped as fantasy and contemporary in YA and in juvenile fiction, and I'll be providing a list of juvenile fiction historical recommendations coming soon, I think. Anyway, if you like this video, like I said, give it a thumbs up, comment down below your favorite historical fiction books, and thanks for watching. Bye!